Hey guys, how's it going? Once again, welcome to my page, welcome to my channel, International Jamaican. Today I'm going to be talking a little something different about Donald Trump and the current situation. You know, a lot of politics, very exciting, especially today with a lady by the name of OMAROSA MANIGAULT. She was one of the contestants on Apprentice, now a really good friend of Trump's, and she's also part of Trump's team. She's helped to work with the African American community, and so today, why I'm going to be talking about her, she had an interview on The View earlier this morning, and or yesterday I believe, and she was, you know, they were really trying to give it to her, but she's a really smart woman. She really stood on her square and you know, answered, you know, took control, and that's what we need. We need more women like this in the black community. And so this is just going to be a reaction video. We're going to be watching this together. I'm going to tell you my personal opinions on why I think she's good for, you know, us going forward. As far as Donald Trump goes, I don't think he is, you know, the great white hope. I don't think he's the be-all, end-all. Of course, black people got to do for themselves, but at the same time, we need more politicians that when they get into office, they don't forget about the black community. A lot of times, we know politicians will come ask for your vote. As soon as they get that vote, they're never seen again. This has been the history with the Democrats. They always say, you know, historically, even though I'm not American, I'm Canadian, you can see on my hat, but I know a little bit about American history. Yeah, you know, due to blacks always voting Democrat, Democrats don't feel any responsibility towards the blacks, right? Just like anything else, if you keep spending your money with a company and the company don't up its services and you don't complain, well, the company's going to keep providing you the same exact services and may even charge you more for the same, you know, lack services. So this is going to be a reaction video. We're going to be watching this together, so stay tuned, listen to what she says. She's a very smart woman, stood on her square, representing us right, and yeah, we'll watch this together.
As the supervillain of the first season of The Apprentice, and now she's working for him again as assistant to the... No, you never heard that, Omarosa?
Not supervillain.
Oh, just villain.
Like
okay.
That's a big stuff.
Now she's working as the Director of Communications for the Office of Public Liaison. Please welcome Omarosa.
Hey.
So, right here, you look very good.
Joy.
You look very nice.
So they're socking you up? You look very good.
So you're working for the Donald.
This is my first time back in 13 years.
Oh.
I was here on the first season of The Apprentice. Good to be back. And my mentor, and who I call the legend of TV, Barbara Walters, was here when I last was here. And it was an honor to be here.
That's right. So you're working in the White House for the president. What exactly are you doing? And do you genuflect in the morning? That's what I want to know.
Okay.
What are you doing for him?
So I am Director of Communications for the Office of Public Liaison, and really we are the face, the coordination between the different groups that want to have a voice and to inform the policy that's happening with this administration. And so I'm honored to serve all of the different groups who want to engage with this administration. In fact, right now I'm planning our Black History Month program, and it's going to be extravagant.
Oh, well,
Good.
You said you're working on Black History Month, and one of your jobs during the campaign was to reach out to the African American community.
I'm the Director of African American Engagement for the Trump-Pence campaign.
Right, but 94% of black women did not vote for Donald Trump. They voted for Hillary Clinton. And how do you respond to the criticism that Donald Trump doesn't really understand the black community, doesn't really...
Well, let's put it in context.
Let me finish my question.
Well, how many questions? Because that's about 3 or 4.
The criticism has been that he's just using you for optics and that he doesn't really care about the black
first one, and then we can go through each step. First of all, African Americans traditionally vote Democratic. Let's just establish a historical
True, like I said.
They vote for the Democrat 94, 95%. So that's no different. But Donald Trump got 13% of the African American vote. He doubled what Romney got. And he is very, very excited about engaging with the African American community. Now, your second and third question I really didn't hear, so if you want to go through those again.
The criticism has been in the African American community that Donald Trump doesn't really care about the community, and in fact, he's just using you as optics.
First of all, no one uses me.
See, you gotta be tough. You gotta be tough. Tell her.
First and foremost, let me just tell you a little bit about myself, and then you can understand how I got where I am. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, in the Westlake Projects, a housing project. So I am the embodiment of the American dream. I grew up on welfare, on Section 8 housing. My father was killed when I was 7 years old. I went to public schools. I went to Central Ohio, got to Howard University, and started to work in politics. So I earned my way to sit in the White House. No one gave me anything, okay? And I think that when you start talking about the African American community, you know, the last administration decided not to aggressively do African American outreach. They felt that if they helped all Americans, then the black community would be helped. And that, you know, that really isn't the approach that we're taking. We have a very strategic plan of engaging this community. We see what's happening in the inner cities. We see that 56% of African American men under 30 are either unemployed or not in school. And we want to work to change that. We see the violence that's happening in Chicago. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to see the amount of murders that are happening. 1 second, Joy. Because what's happening in Chicago, and there's not an uproar, that so many people are dying and being shot, is unacceptable. And so we are going to address that. And this president already this week tweeted about Chicago. I want him to do anything there is to do to make sure that no family goes through what my family went through. My brother was murdered not even 5 years ago, shot dead in his own home. When I see these families in Chicago, 700 or 800 families had to go through what my family went through. I had to sit in the courtroom with the man that murdered my brother. This is more than just politics. For me, Joy, this is my passion.
I understand what you're saying. I'm questioning, why do you think you were able to make it and all these other people could not?
You know, that's a bigger question than for a 3-minute segment.
Does racism have anything to do with it, for instance?
And there are a lot of historical things that has happened that other people could answer. I'm going to tell you about my life and my experience.
Why do you think President
I was able to make it. One second, Gretchen. I was able to make it because my mother made sure that we were in the church, that Christ was the head of our lives, that education was at the top of every single thing that we did.
I think
and she kept us out of trouble and out of the streets.
Yes.
And that's why I can't speak because we're not all a monolith. The African American community is so diverse. Yeah. But my mother and the sacrifice she made after my father was murdered is the reason that I am successful
today. And I agree
today.
with all those things that you say, and hats off for all of your hard work in getting to where you are today. I guess my question is, what is it about Donald Trump, President Trump, that you see that will help change the way in which African Americans are in our communities?
Well, I think that you all have gotten to know him as a business mogul, as an entertainer, as a reality star, now as the President of the United States, Joy.
Can't make it up.
But I know him. I know it's got to burn your blood.
Anybody can be president. He proved it.
It's got to be really, Joy, I know it's got to be really, really hard after, the last year and a half of all the things that you said about Donald to see him sitting in the Oval Office. I know it's got to be hard for you, but I have to tell you that I know him.
It kills me, as a matter of fact.
And I know it does.
I love that.
But here's the great thing. You all know him as the president. I know him as a friend. I know his heart. I know the things that he's seen has never been reported on and probably folks won't ever talk about.
So listen to what he says?
I'm talking about my experience, Joy.
Yeah.
You can listen to what you want. You have decided to continue to hit him and hit him and hit him and not even give him a chance in his first
I'm
week.
waiting for him to apologize.
I want to ask you though,
You want who?
I'm waiting for him to apologize for all the things he said about
you.
No,
not gonna
to
happen.
me, not to me, to veterans, to John McCain,
to
to
the
the
disabled.
handicapped, the disabled.
The message that he has personally about school choice, about opportunity, about jobs, I think that message did get to a lot of people, and that's why a lot of African Americans, a lot of people who were in poverty, people of all genders and races came out. My issue is that
Americans did not come out for Donald Trump.
they came out more than they had for Republicans in the past, and that means something.
And you have to give some credit to that side.
But
I also have to move from campaign. Now he's the president.
She's really in the Shark Tank.
Campaigning.
It's a
So
cat
those
fight.
same lines
So how do you bring the people in who are saying, you know what, no matter what, we're doomed, who are are refusing to listen to the fact that a lot of these programs, in my opinion, will bring opportunity. How do you make those people who are inclined to
When
listen
we come back,
to listen?
Omarosa, we're going to commercial. When we come back, she can answer your question.
Craziness. Hold on.
Jed, you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying that although some of these policies, school choice, whatnot, have a positive outreach, I think there are some who feel that because of the statements he's made that are divisive and whatnot, that we're doomed. And they have this philosophy of we're doomed. How do you reach those people to say, hold on a second, listen to what we're actually trying to do and give us a chance?
Well, I think that once people see the results, I mean, he's about delivering and being productive. And we've already seen from this first week that he is going to do exactly what he said he's going to do. And we can trust that if Donald Trump says he's going to give jobs, he's going to bring back manufacturing, that he's about America first, then that's what he means. And we've seen that in 5 days. And people who even disagree with him have to agree that this first week has been probably one of the most productive weeks of any administration.
It has, but it seems that sometimes he gets a little off track as well. And he goes back to the crowd size at the inauguration and now the voter fraud investigation with 3 to 5 million people voting, illegally. And now you have Jason Chaffetz, from Utah, member of Congress, who says, I'm not going to start an investigation into this because I don't see any evidence of it. Is this a distraction for President Trump?
Well, I think that there's a time of adjustment. He's not a politician. He's never held office, and he's moving from private sector to governing, and it takes an adjustment time. I think in the first 5 days, he's done a spectacular job of dealing with the most important high-pressure job in the world. And so we have to give him time to make that shift. And I believe that you will see that this president is going to be incredible for this country. And I am excited about what's happening with this administration. I'm very honored to be a part of it.
What if they find out in the voter fraud investigation that Hillary won the election? Will we do it over again?
Find out.
That's not happening. Everybody needs to stop marching and stop protesting. That is your president. That is your president.
Isn't it possible?
I think that anything is possible, but I think what's more important right now, I think about the families who lost loved ones in the tornadoes. I think about the families that the president talked about this week who became victims of violence because of illegal immigrants. I'd like to continue to talk about the election. It amuses me, but the truth is we have real issues. We have real issues and there are real Americans who have problems that we have to address. So you all can sit at the table and continue to talk about those things in the media, but we have a job to address. We have a job to make sure that the American people have exactly what they need.
Let me just jump in here real quickly. The day after the inauguration, millions of women marched around the world to protest President Trump. Many
Stop
were
the
offended by
marching.
some of the things he said along the way, but how did you remedy this as a woman? Did any of this resonate with you?
Well, first, I'm an American. I'm a very proud American. So let's start with that. And I know people like to put labels. Omarosa's black, she's a woman, she's this. I'm an American first. And seeing those women march last week, it made me very proud. It's one of the most important fundamental rights that we have in this country. The right to assemble, the freedom of speech, and the right to protest. I love seeing that. And there is a march going on. There's a march going on right now, the March for Life, that I hope that you all will give the same type of coverage that you
We did yesterday, actually. We covered it yesterday.
But today, it's going on right now. And so that same freedom should be afforded to all Americans. And I'm so glad that the Vice President is probably preparing to speak at the March for Life right now.
Well, why do you think it's so divisive? It's so divisive in our society right now.
It's politics. Politics is a tough game. This is my second time in the White House, so I'm not really new to the tension that comes with it. What's new to me is just this desire to paint Donald Trump with this negative brush without giving him a chance to do what he said he's
Can I
going
just
to
ask
do.
you this? We've been talking about how divisive this election is, and Gretchen's been talking about how divisive this election is. We often say that it comes from the top. He did lead this very divisive campaign. Will we hear him apologize?
Don't you think the media contributed to that?
Will we hear him apologize
No.
for
Of course not.
the things that he
He
has said?
stood by everything that he said. And now let me just
Disabled
say,
reporter,
you didn't make
is he
fun of a
gonna
disabled
stand
reporter,
by
but you can continue to say that. If you say it enough, people may start to believe
What
it.
about grabbing
Let me just say this as I
genitals? Is he gonna
close
be able to
this.
do that?
Y'all can keep throwing things at me. I'm not
Good.
going to really
You have to be
fall for that.
strong
What
when
I
you're in the
will say
Shark
is
Tank.
People can listen to me right now and right here. We are committed to making this country the best it's going to be. We're not going to look in the past. We're going to look forward and put this country first. And that's what's not been happening in the last 8 years.
Exactly.
We're going to put America first. We're going to put people back to work. We're going to make sure people are safe. And that's what this president is about.
Same as you,
This is a
Omarosa.
table for you all to negotiate things that you want to talk about from the past. But I now work for this country.
Yes.
And I take my job very
Can we
seriously.
see his
And I
tax
am
returns, do
very
you think?
See, Joy, do you?
They just go off and jump on any question, you know what I mean? All these type of...
I see we only have 1 minute left. My handsome fiance traveled all the way here from Jacksonville, Florida, and he is in the audience. Girl, I'm talking about my man.
Good. She's bigging up her man. I like that.
I'm so glad that he's here. He's a Democrat, I'm a Republican. We get along just fine.
Tax returns? You want to see his tax returns? Raise your hand if your answer is yes.
Don't do it.
Of course, he's my husband. He's going to be my husband in April, and I'm so happy.
And I'm
that
happy
you're
for her.
here
You
with
see,
me.
that's
You
good.
bring
That's a
such
good
joy,
woman. That's
and
a
I
good
hope
black
that
woman.
You one day can find that kind of joy in your life.
Yes.
That's right. And I feel like
Good.
we can get high right now. Thanks to Omarosa, and we'll be right back.
Well, guys, there you have it. Omarosa, giving them the roast. I mean, what can else you say? Okay, guys, so before we close this out, I want to discuss some things that we heard on the interview with Omarosa. So yeah, as she said, she's I can't say typical because I don't know the real stats, but obviously there's a high percentage of black people that grow up in government housing, welfare, and you know, they say, I don't know what the stats are for single fathers, but her father in her instance was killed. So no, obviously she wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She's not from a rich family. She actually had to struggle. She went to Howard U. You know, so she's had to work for where she's gotten in life, right? She's not rubbing shoulders with Trump just for any odd reason, but she's proven herself. She stated that they want to really target the African American community. She really wants to help out there with the 56% unemployment rate with African American males under the age of 30. Obviously, with the Obama administration, they never you know, talked about African American the African American situation. A lot of people say, oh, you know, Barack Obama represents the whole country and not just African American people. But obviously, African Americans are in a very special situation just due to their historic, you know, the history in America. It's not the nicest one. We've, you know, for sure, there's been all sorts of laws that were against, you know, African Americans from progressing. And these things need to be addressed, right? Or we will continue to decline. So she's taking the initiative to address these things. So I really like that. You know, black women. So she's just knocking down all prejudices, and she's doing it, guys. So nothing else I can really say, but I really hope this woman does some good things while she's in office, while she's with the Trump administration. I hope, you know, I hope she really puts her best foot forward and, you know, gets things done. I hope that we see progress and a lot of growth within the African American community in America in general. But we do know over these past 8 years, African Americans have slid right back. I believe we only, I don't even know. I know it's less than 1% of businesses. I don't even know what it is in Canada. I should actually find out. But the demographics in Canada are so small with the blacks. It's, you know, it's almost, I don't even want to say it's a pointless battle, but it's a real uphill battle. The struggle always continues and will never stop. But it's just, you know, things are a little bit different over here. So big up to Omarosa. Thanks, guys, for checking out my channel, International Jamaican. I have a lot more videos coming up. And yeah, we'll take it from there. Peace.